St. George's Day. One of the simplest moments in the political calendar. Say Happy St. George's Day, fly the flag, move on. Keir Starmer could not even manage that. Instead, he used the occasion to lecture the English people about division, toxic culture, and those who apparently hijacked the flag. On St. George's Day, while his government is collapsing under the weight of the Mandelson scandal, and the reaction was immediate. Even commentators who rarely agree on anything were stunned. One analyst went further and said what many are now privately saying about his leadership, that it is not a question of if he goes, but when. Watch until the end, because what comes after the speech is the part nobody is covering. Share this now and hit like. They do not want ordinary English people seeing this.
Three very different stories, all in different parts of England, but they're bound together by the same values of service, of generosity, and of respect. They are examples of people stepping up for their communities when, frankly, it would be easier in many cases to step back, not to step up, but they stepped up. They're exceptional stories, and yet in this country they feel familiar, because you'll find them in every community across England and every moment this country has been tested. Look at the pandemic. Millions of people signed up to volunteer, showing their support on the doorways. And I will always take away from the pandemic the fact that people simply went up the road to neighbours they didn't know and knocked on the door to simply say, "Are you all right? Is there anything I can do for you?" I think that is really English. I think it's what we are. And we should bottle that, because that is the true England. Or when Russia invaded Ukraine, many people opening their doors to refugees. And of course, the Ukrainian flag still flying proudly on village halls and churches and people's homes across the country. And we're seeing it again now across the country, everyday acts of volunteering in communities, bringing together those who need it most in lots of different ways. Faith groups reaching out to lend their support, quiet acts of kindness that go unseen, but they're second nature to so many people. And when time and time again, when times get tough, we pull each other together and we pull each other up. And it's really important that we do that, because there's no getting round the fact that there are voices both here and abroad who would seek to divide us, who want to set us apart from each other, who want to pretend that in this country what we really do is to distinguish between people, to find the points of difference, to have the sort of toxic culture of hatred between different individuals, different groups, different communities. Sadly, we've seen it repeated so many times, including attacks on our synagogues, the most recent of which was just in the last week, and similarly abhorrent attacks on our mosques. They're not just senseless acts of abuse. They're acts of violence designed to send a message to the Jewish and Muslim communities of this country that they are not safe. That's what they're designed to do, that they're not welcome, an attempt to rip up the bonds that tie our communities together. And make no mistake, we must be clear, we will not let them do this. We reject their division completely, and we will fly our flag proudly. It's our flag. It belongs to us, and we will fly it for the values that we believe in, and they're the values of the people I've named in this room tonight, the people who step up for their communities, who want to bring people together, who reject the division that others want to inflict on us. They are English values: service, generosity, and respect. And that's why I love this country so much, because that is us, that is our values, that is what we fight for, that is what the flag truly represents. And when we stand together, united in our communities, we are stronger than any challenge that is thrown at us. So thank you for being here tonight. There's fantastic showcases, there's fantastic food. You can smell it in all different parts of the room. So thank you for being here tonight. Enjoy all the wonderful showcases around the room, and happy St. George's Day. Have a good evening.
Heck, you know, look, just say Happy St. George's Day, everyone, and my St. George's flag is flying proudly from number 10 and every other government building that we can hoist it on today. There was no need for that. That was asinine. That was precisely what they on the left accused the right of being. That was, mind my language, bleep it out if you need to, shit stirring. That's what that was.
Well, my apologies to our viewers and listeners for the language, but I think it's understandable, Isabel. It's so ironic, isn't it, that the progressive left talk about hate and the division. They're the ones stirring it. They're the one behind it. Because if you think about things like open borders or telling people to hate their country, that's what division.
Why would you do that as Prime Minister? Why would you do that except to play to the lowest common denominator of your support, except to wind people up? There was no need for that. They continually go on with their moral high ground, sanctimonious harping about politics of division and we stand for unity and none of this hate. What? And then they just literally peddle it out there on a Thursday morning for no reason whatsoever. And it's made my day start quite grumpily. And I'm
honestly so astonished about this. A very simple post wishing everyone in England a happy St. George's Day, maybe with, Starmer, a pint of Timothy Taylor landlord ale, something like that. It's not complicated. It's not actually that difficult to be Prime Minister, but my goodness, this man is making a meal of it. Isabel, it's clear that the Prime Minister is not in great shape politically. There isn't an obvious figure that the party can unite around to replace it.
It's not particularly difficult to say the right thing on St. George's Day. You know what he's doing? He's making this really easy for his political opponents.
Yes.
Whatever other party it may be, it's not hard to do a better job of celebrating St. George's Day, is it, than he has done today? So where are we with his leadership? Well, it's very clear that he has hemorrhaged any support that he had remaining over the course of this week. It's not an if, but a when. Various scenarios being discussed. Does he announce after the local elections that he's going to step down in the autumn, but allow a time for a full kind of beauty parade or horror show, whichever way you look at it, of leadership contenders? Or is there somehow an agreement, a particular successor? I think the second scenario is vanishingly unlikely. So many people that want this job, pretty much as always. And I think we'll have the full-blown leadership contest. And where will we end up? Well, I think with a new...
Could not say Happy St. George's Day without making it political, while his position collapses. Share this, hit like, and tell us in the comments, is he finished? Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next.